AEW WrestleDream is this Saturday evening, my very good friends. I'm Andy Murray. This is WhatCulture Wrestling. We're going to preview it by looking at the ways that Tony Khan and the company can get the most out of this show. The booking decisions that will leave people happy, or at least leave me happy, which will hopefully be reflected by some of your own opinions on this lineup. We got some like 8 or 9 matches in total. We got a Mercedes Moné segment advertised for this thing as well. You'd imagine there's some kind of angle planned for that. But on paper, a very good lineup, even if maybe TV isn't at quite its peak at the moment. The thing is with these AEW shows, they are one of the safest bets in wrestling. If you tune in to an AEW pay-per-view, you're going to get exactly what you think you're going to get from it. You're going to get 5 hours of crazy wall-to-wall action from some of the absolute best wrestlers in the world. If you're into that kind of thing, I am, you're going to have a great time. So let's kick this thing off and let's run through 5 things that must happen at AEW WrestleDream 2025. Number 5, Jack Perry pins a Buck. So we got Jack Perry, Luchasaurus, Jurassic Express back together facing the Young Bucks on this show for $500,000, okay? But also long-term storytelling, baby. Jack Perry has obviously been very closely associated with the Young Bucks throughout his entire career, stretching beyond even AEW. He came back from a long absence a few weeks ago and accosted these gentlemen, and they've been feuding ever since. It's pretty vital, therefore, now that we're going down this new direction with Jack, now that he's back as a babyface, now that he's back with his old tag team partner Luchasaurus, it's important that he wins. He should win his first match back. If he does not, I think that undermines him quite a lot. Now, there are ways around Jack specifically losing, right? Luchasaurus could get pinned, or you could contrive some wacky, overbooked silliness if you really wanted to. But I argue that the best thing to do here is for Jack to definitively pin either Nick or Matt Jackson. Not just claim the $500,000, but get one over on the dastardly heels. I don't see much benefit at all in him losing. He's just back. And he really needs to pick up the victory to really cement this character and cement this direction as something worth investing in on the babyface side. And it'll make him a bit richer in kayfabe as well. So it's a double win for old Jungle Jack. Number 4, Okada and Takeshita lose due to shenanigans. Now, they are facing Brodido. More on them in another video coming up. But they're facing them for the World Tag Team titles. They earned this opportunity by besting them in a pseudo-eliminator type match where a shot at the Unified title was also on the line. It was like a double jeopardy thing they did. And the running story for Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada in the Don Callis family has been the fact that they don't quite get along. They don't really trust each other. They're always shooting each other glances. The chemistry is a little bit off in tag team matches and things like that. But they did beat the tag team champions, and that is a significant feather in their cap. Now, when you get to the show, the longer term story with those dudes, obviously, is them eventually feuding somehow. Whether that involves one of them leaving the Don Callis family and turning, or whether it's like a civil war type situation you've got going on there. Presumably with Takeshita being the babyface, you'd imagine, because he's the flashier wrestler, the more exciting, the more action-packed style of wrestler, if you will. Not disrespecting Okada at all, he's one of the best of all time. But yeah, I think that they should lose here, the challengers, due to some kind of miscommunication, right? Some kind of fractured relationship manifesting in the world of wrestling. Maybe they're arguing over who's the legal man. Maybe their chemistry's a bit off, and that leads to them losing. What should happen then is that the person who doesn't take the pinfall should be raging at the person who took the pinfall, and that could be the catalyst for a grander feud. Takeshita is now the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. That's insane. That's the richest prize in New Japan. And I think there's a pretty good story to be told there. The idea of maybe Okada chasing him to Wrestle Kingdom, and the way Okada returns to New Japan is fighting in the main event of that show for the big shiny belt. Does say a little bit about New Japan if their biggest show of the year was headlined by an AEW story, but hey, who cares? It's Okada. He's a big name. He's a big draw. over there in the Tokyo Dome. So lots of interesting storytelling possibilities from this match, and I think this is the best one. Number 3 is that Jon Moxley puts Darby Allin over. I think if Jon Moxley has done one thing better than anybody else in the past few months, it has been playing the role of the Predator that has been backed into the corner. The guy who knows he is doomed but keeps finding ways to just hang on by the skin of his teeth. He sells the desperation extremely well. I think it was really evident in his title change match with Hangman Page a couple of months ago at All In, like the look on his face as he was choked over the top rope, and the way he reacted, the way he finally gave up, the way his last stand manifested was superbly well acted on his behalf. And he's done it well since as well. In the previous match with Darby, he was on the path to losing and he sold that desperation extremely well. He won because Pac returned and screwed things up for Darby. Now, the walls have finally closed in. He's all the way in the corner, and it's time for him to put Darby over in the same way that he did for Hangman a couple of months ago. This is going to be a completely insane match. They're going to do all kinds of wacky things to one another, some of which you should probably be prosecuted for, lads. But yeah, we'll see what comes of it on that front. I will talk about it in the second preview video we've got going out for this show. But yeah, I think that Darby should go over and strongly in this situation. If he has to jump on a million different Death Riders, if you have to bring Sting back with no beard dye, old man Sting kicking ass, you can do that too. There's options on the table. And I think that the direction is that Moxley loses again here in another big match, because he's been pretty giving this year in that regard. He's no longer champion. Currently, his job is to elevate other babyfaces out with the title picture. What better way to do that than by giving Darby the win 1, 2, 3 with a flamethrower and a coffin and soil. I don't know, whatever else you're going to bring into this, what will surely be one of the most ludicrous matches of the entire year, in a good way. Number 2, Hangman Page must retain the AEW World Championship against Samoa Joe. Look, I am the biggest Samoa Joe guy on the planet. I loved his previous AEW World title reign. I thought it was a perfect transitional reign, and it was great to kind of rip the company away from the shenanigans of the devil in that storyline. It really worked as an effective hard reset for AEW in general, and I've seen some make the argument that AEW does need a bit of a reset again based on the week-to-week quality of the programming, but that is in the eye of the beholder, and I think that they should stay the course with Hangman Page. I think that this is going to be the defining title run of his career, right? I think that this is going to be the one that ultimately tells us, what will he be remembered by in 20 years? How will his legacy be remembered? Will it be as a vanguard for the company, as one of the most important champions it has ever had? Or will it be just below that, right? Because he's already central to the company's overarching narratives. But what he does as a top champion does matter. And I think if you really want to make that matter, he needs a longer run on top, and he needs a title change that has been built with longer term stuff in mind. Whenever Page is dethroned, whoever does it, it should be the product of a great long-term story. It should not be, we've got 3 weeks, Samoa Joe is excellent, fill in 3 weeks of TV, let's throw him in. The Kyle Fletcher match was much similar, right? The build was 3 weeks or something like that. Not a whole lot of storyline meat on the bones. Good match, obviously. But the change itself should be something more meaningful, akin to Page and Moxley earlier in the year. There's a lot more you can do with this title run, and I think you should wait to change the belt until you have the right story, whether it's MJF taking it, whether it's someone else entirely. You're not quite there yet, and I love Samoa Joe, but I don't think he should be the one right now. Number 1, Toni Storm spirals. So the match I'm most looking forward to on this show is Toni Storm versus Kris Statlander for the AEW Women's World Championship, because I think they're going to rock. I think they're going to go 25, 30 minutes, I don't know, choose a good length. And I think they're going to tell a tremendous story. And also, I think they're going to knock the hell out of each other, which is always a sight to behold. Both of them are more than willing to do that when the situation calls for it. Obviously, this is building from the recent title change in the 4-way, where Kris Statlander kind of opportunistically pinned, won the belt, took the belt from Toni, and Toni's character has been spiraling ever since. What does the timeless character look like without the top prize? in 2025. We've been finding out she's been going more and more unhinged every single week, and I think that should continue. What I think should happen here is that Kris should win and retain and prove herself in this scenario to be the better woman, and that should send Toni Storm around the bend. She should be twisted all over the place as a character coming out of this, delving into weirder and wackier territory than ever before. She certainly has the creative mind for it, she has the performance chops for it, and she can pull it off. The Toni Storm character should enter a dark place. She should be an artist going off the rails. That's how she should be portrayed in true Hollywood fashion, much like the character itself. I think this is going to be an absolutely tremendous match. I think that for me, Toni Storm versus Mariah May, probably still the AEW match of the year. Can't really think of a better one off the top of my head, but she's been great all year. Statlander is tremendous. She has been from the moment she walked into the company. She's been one of the people most responsible for lifting the floor of the women's division and the ceiling, because she can peak incredibly highly, as we saw versus Willow last year. But also, she's a very capable wrestler of lifting others up to her level as well, which is tremendous. It's a great asset to have. I think that this is maybe going to be the main event of the whole damn show, and I think the result for me is a babyface, no, they're both babyfaces, is a champion victory, followed by Toni spiraling, because I would love to see what kind of just wild content Toni Storm develops as somebody who's spiraling without her belt. I think that'll be tremendously entertaining across. Hanging out in the rafters, looking miserable, looking all sad. It's great stuff across the board. But let me know what you think needs to happen at the show. Let me know down in the comment section below. Check out the video on your screen right now. You're gonna love it. I'm sure you're gonna. The algorithm thinks you're gonna love it. And when was that ever wrong, right? See you later, guys. Enjoy the show. We will be back soon. Bye.